Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas is the final film in the Harold and Kumar trilogy of films. I would love to see more of them. I really enjoyed rewatching them. Actually, this one, the first time I had seen the A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas, which was made for 3D. I've seen parts of it. I definitely remember the beginning of it. I remember Bobby Lee getting pelted with eggs. But it's a movie that it was probably on somewhere and I wasn't paying attention. But this one made for 3D. This was probably the only movie I have ever watched that made me wish I had a 3D TV, because so many of the gags are played for 3D or just, and like knowingly so are played for 3D, that would have been so much more fun to see those bits in 3D. Like knowing that they're playing to the camera, but not doing it in a super cheesy way. Like it's over the top in just the right way. This one was directed by Todd Strauss-Schulson, who also did another movie that I love, The Final Girls. And an interesting movie. The Everything is Beautiful. It's like a rom-com that is about like rom-coms. Like the lead character, her life turns into a rom-com, which is in a lot of ways similar to The Final Girls, where it's a bunch of kids like jump into an old 80s slasher film and are living in the film. Like very high concept type of comedy ideas, which I really enjoyed Final Girls. I really enjoyed this movie as well. I thought it was amazing. Whatever this guy does, I will watch it. Like as far as the complexity of these ideas is so much fun. After the last movie, this takes place 6 years after Guantanamo Bay, which Guantanamo Bay, clearly my least favorite of the franchise. Just the most dated of as far as comedy wise. Just it went over the top in ways that I didn't like. I felt like the first one's really great. This one's really great. They also made Bush like a sympathetic character for some reason in the second one, which I really don't like that. But this one was amazing. So it's 6 years later. They've kind of parted ways. You have Kumar getting weed from Patton Oswalt, who's playing a mall Santa, which is a fun scene. You have Harold is now like an executive or whatever, and Bobby Lee is back in this one playing his assistant. And he's got, a fancy house, big house with Maria. Maria's family comes to town, which her dad is Danny Trejo, which I love Danny Trejo. Go watch the Danny Trejo documentary. It's amazing. Produced by the one and only Adam Scorgi, former guest of the Inspired Disorder podcast. But Danny Trejo plays her dad, who's like the Christmas super fan. Like Danny Trejo, it's like the perfect character for Danny Trejo, right? Like super like intimidating as Danny Trejo is one to be. His presence is a bit intimidating, despite being just one of the most lovable dudes. But then he's like this super fan of Christmas, so much so that it's the family tradition that he grows the Christmas tree, and he brings a Christmas tree to replace the white faux tree that Harold had before. Replace it with a tree that he grew for like 12 years or something like that. This perfect Christmas tree. But yeah, I love that aspect of it. So they're brought back together. Harold receives a package at the apartment, or Kumar receives a package at his apartment, which he's super depressed because he broke up with his girlfriend from the last movie. They're no longer together. He's got a big beard and his apartment's all dirty. And all he does, he's kind of become the stereotypical stoner in a lot of ways, but not played up as much as the second movie, but just kind of the just like the loser, the dirty pothead. But he's also, it's more so because he's depressed, because he just got dumped by his girlfriend, which they were together for I guess 5 years, 6 years since the last movie. The end of Guantanamo Bay is all of them in Amsterdam hanging out. And then it seems like this was just not that long ago that she dumped him. But he receives a package. Kumar receives a package that's addressed to both him and Harold. So he gets a ride out to Harold from his roommate gives him a ride. And that's where it kind of all starts. Of course, the Christmas tree gets set on fire. Like I really appreciated the comedy in this one because it brought it back to these two guys, these two friends. You got Harold, who's like the by the book rule follower, really responsible guy, and then you have Kumar, who's like this genius. Like he could be a doctor tomorrow if he wanted to be, and would be a great doctor tomorrow. But he's like, a stoner. He doesn't want to live that kind of life. He wants to enjoy his life of being a stoner and just hanging out and getting stoned. So he is like, in a lot of ways, the opposite responsibility-wise to Harold. And because of that, brings Harold in on these adventures. And the tree burns up, and they kind of like, they hadn't been friends for a while anyway. Because he had moved out, and they kind of, they've parted as friends. A little over 4 years ago, I started The Many Faces. It's an ongoing series of abstract ink portraits. Each piece is improvised. Each piece is released daily. Start collecting now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF. That stands for The Many Faces. And save yourself 25% when you use coupon code RTS. That stands for The Ray Taylor Show, because that's what you're listening to, and I love you. So I want you to save 25% when you use that coupon code. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF and use coupon code RTS to save 25% when you start collecting one of over 1,600 original ink paintings. By myself, I made them. Support me. I love you. Back to the show. So when he burns the tree, it's like, well, I need you out of my life because you just attract this stuff, man. And then you have added to the cast, you have, in addition to Danny Trejo, you have Thomas Lennon, who plays a friend of Harold, and he's trying to help him, like a kiss ass kind of a friend. Like because Harold is like this executive or whatever, he's like trying to schmooze his way by not pretending, but like being a friend that's not really, doesn't feel like genuine. Like he's there because Harold has the status he has in the company. But he's in this whole journey trying to get a tree. They're trying to get this replacement tree because Danny Trejo is going to kill Harold. That this tree that he grew for 12 years, which of course was going to burn. Of course that's what was going to happen in this movie. So they have to replace it. And they got a replacement, like the only tree that could possibly be replaced. They're both going after it. And the way that the second tree gets destroyed is, I mean, it's like hilarious. Like the car, like just complete accident flips, crushing the tree, then the car blows up. Like the most over the top kind of, it's just so funny. So funny how it's just like, oh, the replacement tree is gone too. So now they're in this thing. Now they have, so you have 4 people now on this journey. You have Harold Kumar, Tom Lennon, who's playing Todd, who has his child with them, which is hilarious what this child gets into. And then you have Kumar's neighbor, who's like a younger kid that's supposed to be meeting up with this hot chick who wants to lose her virginity to him. So that's kind of like everybody's kind of dynamics. Todd is like, doesn't want to be there because he's not really he's just kind of trying to kiss ass. So like the fact that he's there with his kid, who the kid first gets hotboxed by Kumar. Kumar goes to smoke weed as they're like on this journey to try and find this replacement tree. Doesn't even know the kid exists and is in the car. So he accidentally hotboxes this kid in the car. They get to a party where this kid's supposed to be deflowering this girl. But they find out that it's like a mob boss. The reason why she's a virgin is because everybody's scared that because her dad is this like famous mob boss who kills everybody. And there's this crazy scene where like slow motion bags of cocaine are being shot and exploded in the air. Couch cushion stuffing is going everywhere. And then the kid gets coated in cocaine. Oh, actually, the kid got coated in cocaine earlier. Dad was trying to go change the diaper, go into a room where a bunch of people are doing cocaine with just like a massive pile of cocaine on a tray. And one of them sneezes and it covers the kid and Tom Lennon in blow. And so then the kid is now like hyper on blow. It is hilarious. The kid later takes ecstasy. The end of this movie where you see the kid again, it's just like the funniest kid with glow sticks. I mean, it's kind of sad, like the idea that a kid would, take all of these drugs, like a young kid, like a 3-year-old, weed probably the nicest, the healthiest thing that kid could have been surrounded by that night was the weed. Then you have the coke and the ecstasy. Neil Patrick Harris is back. Obviously, he's on the cover, and they explain it, which is the most hilarious explanation. Neil Patrick Harris's character is now pretending to be gay, just to improve his status in Hollywood or whatever. But he's clearly fake. He's like still the toxic masculinity version of Neil Patrick Harris that we've gotten in the previous films. It's just a whole ruse of his to pretend he's gay. But what happened was when he got shot and he went to heaven, he ended up he was getting a hand job from one of Jesus's topless heaven pals. So Jesus bounced him from heaven because Neil Patrick Harris took his girls, his women, which is funny. I mean, you weren't allowed to die because because Jesus was trying to cock block you. So funny. In the universe of Harold and Kumar, Neil Patrick Harris being bounced from heaven for being the type of person he is in this movie is pretty funny. And Danny Trejo shows up with his whole family, which is hilarious also. A bunch of intimidating Chicanos are now in Harold's house, and Harold's like the straight-laced. And, the movie brings back subtle racism. It's not like characters that are blown up and just doing like the most extreme racist over-the-top stuff like they were in Guantanamo Bay. This one has a little bit more subtle, which is perfectly great because it's everywhere. It's Danny Trejo's mildly racist to Harold. Harold's mildly racist to them. Everybody's mildly racist to the black guys who have the tree farm, but the black guys are playing it up. Like it's all like it's back to the perfect mix of everything, not overdoing it. Nobody's just playing stupid. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. So I enjoyed that. So it's like a fun journey again. It's got a White Castle reference. Like while they're on this journey, everybody's hungry and they just happen to be by a White Castle. You also get to see their old apartment neighbors, who one of them is converted from Judaism to Christianity, which is a hilarious angle. So much of this movie is so much fun. And Neil Patrick Harris, he's doing like this stage presentation of some Christmas thing, and Kumar and Harold just happen to get in there. But of course, one of the props are these perfect trees that he could use. But it still doesn't work. There's a waffle robot that ends up saving them at one point, like the mobsters. So they get away from the mobsters, right? They're trying to get this tree from this party. Doesn't work out because the dad is this famous big mobster. And Harold is kind of in a compromising situation where it looks like his daughter is giving him a blowjob, but she was just trying to kind of rape him because she wants to have sex, and nobody will have sex with her because her dad is so scary, and he shows up. And so they're on the run. They don't have the tree, but they get the tree from Neil Patrick Harris. But then they get caught by the mobsters' goons, show up and kidnap them. And they have them tied up to a pole and gonna set them on fire. But then the robot saves them. And then you have this hilarious scene, which is a callback to earlier where they're watching a Christmas Story, and the kid has his tongue stuck to the pole because it's cold out and his tongue freezes to the pole. But instead of that, it's Harold's dick. The head of Harold's dick is stuck to this pole, which is kind of funny. A funny callback, But yeah, the waffle robot comes to the rescue, which is a fun kind of, the waffle robot and Kumar have become instant pals. Because the perfect treat when you're high is a nice crispy waffle made by a robot. So they get away, and there's a scene where they're trying to they need a ride. It's already too late. Like, it's past the time. Her family is back. It's like 2 a.m., so they're back from midnight mass. They know now that the tree is gone. It's like it's all too late, and they're kind of at their wits' end. And in an attempt to get attention, to get like somebody around them to give them a ride or whatever, he shoots. He's like, if you shoot a gun in the air, somebody will show up. Which I don't know the logic of that, but whatever. What happens is Harold shoots Santa out of the sky. But then, of course, we get to see Kumar's brilliant medical skills. And it's fun, and Santa gives him a ride home. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies now. A very Harold and Kumar Christmas is right up there with like a Christmas Story or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's up there with Home Alone. It's up there with Bad Santa, Elf, Harold and Kumar. A very Harold and Kumar Christmas. And I wish I had, a 3D TV. Because so much of the comedy in this, not so much of the comedy, so much of this is clearly shot for 3D. Still shot great. I like the way this looked. But like, in all the moments, I'm thinking of like, oh, that would have been cool to see in 3D. Like, there's just certain moments that I know would have just looked, that are clearly set pieces for 3D. And this movie is clearly shoving 3D down your throat. Like, it's a commercial for 3D in a lot of ways, which is also funny. Like this scene with Bobby Lee at the beginning of the movie where he's showing Harold this new Sharp Aquas 3D. I don't even think it was a 3D TV. It's Sharp Aquas, definitely. They came out with 3D, but I think the one that was in that box was, I remember selling those, but maybe it was. I don't know. It was crazy to see a Sharp Aquas LCD TV like used to sell those at Costco, that exact box of TV, which is kind of crazy to see it again. But yeah, I love this movie. It's a lot. The franchise in general, I thought was great. The second one, my least favorite of the franchise, but the first Harold and Kumar movie and this one are the best. And you can almost just not watch Guantanamo Bay. But I think there's a lot of people like them. I didn't like it. It was okay, but it was just like, it just felt really dated. And the things that they turned up in that movie, I didn't like. What they did with this one, adding Tom Lennon and the kid that is constantly getting dosed with drugs. Neil Patrick Harris is back. Danny Trejo. Like every aspect of this, what they did, they brought it back to that first one. I really did enjoy this one a lot, and it surprised me. I was nervous after watching Guantanamo Bay. I was just like, man, if this one is just more of that, then I am not going to be happy. And it was complete opposite. It was awesome. It was awesome. So check it out if you haven't seen it. It's great, and it has Santa smoking out of a bong at the very end. Spoilers, but I love it. Like, as far as a 420 friendly Christmas movie, it's great. It's great. I loved it. So check it out if you haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a while. Looking for something for the holidays, a very Harold and Kumar Christmas is a choice that I would recommend if you want to laugh. Do you like laughing? I think you will. It's got a lot of comedy in it. Check it out. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!